It's a combination of science and art. It's an artistic endeavour, but it's accomplished by scientific knowledge. I was always interested in fiddling with amplifiers, building radios, and anything with wires in fascinated me, and that drew me towards being involved in a radio station at my comprehensive school. I realised at the time I was doing it that this is really what I wanted to do. I didn't want to be academic. Like my life path was something to do with sound, something to do with soldering things together.
It's coming from over here!
One valuable thing coming from documentary and going into feature films is a certain flexibility of mind that documentaries give you. Always being prepared for the unexpected. I feel more comfortable if when I see the scene on the schedule for the day, I've got three ways of approaching that. Primarily, say, the boom. And then if lighting doesn't allow that, then the radio mics. And then maybe if the radio mics don't work, maybe plant mics, things like that. And that comes from documentary of working in a world where it's could change at any moment and be ready to do it. Whereas I think a lot of people who work in studios they have a particular way of doing it, and that's it. I prefer to have backups. Be flexible, but be ready to be overridden every now and again, but also to fight your corner, to try and explain how important it is that the sound on location will always be better. I'm lucky because I've worked with directors for whom sound is important. It's part of the palette that they use to create. And therefore, because it's important, they will give you the space that you need to help them, i.e. keep the set quiet, give time for wild tracks if they're needed. I think one of the things you've got to be ready for is to be ignored and to be overridden sometimes. It's wrong, I don't agree with it, but on a lot of sets they will see sound as a poor relation, and it's very frustrating because you want everything to be absolutely right. They want to get through the schedule, and they make, frankly, I think, the wrong decision sometimes that will fix it in post. On films I work on, I always try to have a communication lines with post-production, and if I'm free, I love to go in and see the sound edit in process, and if possible, certainly with Ken Loach, to go along to the dubbing session or the re-recording, the final mix. I find that really, really instructive, because there's no way of calibrating what you hear as whether that worked or not than hearing it on the cinema speakers. For instance, having a scene where you have a radio mic and it's just a little bit rustly, not enough to be unusable, but enough to be apparent in your headphones. I always like to get through the whole process and see whether it required an ADR or whether they lived with it and how bad it is actually on loudspeakers. It's always good to have contact because you're in a chain. You're a link in the chain, and it's good to have contact with the next link in the chain.